like a moron, I didn't start the recording with that deck explanation, but who cares? Whatever. I think I'll just explain things a little bit more as we go. And the deck is called I Am Groot because, you know, Marvel puns, and our champion is Papa Groot, who for 3 charges puts into play a constant that heals us at the start of each of our turns. I gotta stop doing that. I forget how loud rubbing my hands sounds on the mic. This game is free to play. This game is free to play. You can sign up for free to get a deck and jump right into playing competitively, or you can even jump into the PvE campaign. It's kind of like an MMO style. You pick a champion, and you can you get a deck to start, and as you play through the campaign doing quests and side quests, you level up, get better passives and better abilities for that deck, and then also better cards for it as well. So if you're into RPGs and into card games, it's a really interesting mesh of the two. And then like there's modes like this, which is like end game content, where you can take all your cards that you gained from that campaign and from elsewhere and just take on these really challenging opponents. The PvE campaign mode starts with much easier encounters than the ones that you're seeing here, because they're meant to be sort of an introduction to the game. And then the Frostring Arena is kind of like the end game bonus content. So this hand, I think, is... It wants a second diamond source for this Righteous Paladin. And we're not even getting a turn 1 Adamantian Scrivener, which is what we normally like to see. But we are getting Scrivener into like flying threats, which 1 drops, and they're, you know, each time we put a troop into play, the Adamantian Scrivener is going to gain us 2 health. Normally it's 1, but with the equipment it's 2. So that's getting those triggers that we need to try to get those ethereal healers out on the field as much as possible. We have this Contract Killing in hand, which is a removal, though it hurts us every turn. Normally not relevant since we're gaining so much health most of the time. I think I'm going to throw this back since we get a free mulligan and see what else we can come up with. Well, that's a pretty expensive hand, but it is a strong one if we can get going. I'm inclined to keep worse hands in the early stages of a Frostwing Arena. We could always start over again. We can always start over if we get a bad start. Important thing is we got double diamond here if we draw any of our Righteous Paladins. So I could throw out the Glorious Pegasus. Glorious Pegasus has a bunch of text on it, since we're actually using not 1 but 2 equipment pieces for it. So we'll just go through it now. So it's a 1/1 with flight that says once per turn, any turn, when you gain health, create a Valor and put it into play. Now a Valor is just an action that gives a troop permanent +1/+1. That's not really the relevant thing for it. It also says deploy a random Ardent troop in your hand, gets flight, and when a Valorous troop you control attacks, it gets life drained this turn. And a Valorous troop is any troop that's been hit with a Valor. So the interesting thing is if we play this out here, because the only Ardent troop we have in our hand right now is a Mazen Totemist, it will get the buff. But I think... And then we can play the Mazen Totemist next turn and then like start beating down our opponent. Might be a little slow with the start he's gotten here though. So do I want to just play out the Ivory Pawn? Let's go for it. Let's play out the Pegasus. Now, the passive ability on the Mad Packmaster says, when a troop without Gladiator enters play, exhaust it. All of his troops have Gladiator, and spoilers, none of ours do. So all of our troops are going to enter play exhausted, and his troops aren't going to be affected by that at all. Yeah, we are kind of... Maybe this hand wasn't a good keep because it was a little too slow, but we'll see. do we want to play out these paladins instead to start gaining little bits of amounts of health back every turn? That might be the plan we're on, actually. No, I think I want the totemist to get out first, because when we start gaining health, it's going to buff our clerics, and since the paladins are also clerics, they're going to get stronger and stronger, and with their life drain, it means we can make it back some of the health that we're losing here. It still might just be too slow with the start that we've had. Righteous Paladin's not a bad draw. Gonna enter play exhausted, but... So what we're gonna do here, one of the neat things we can do with Ivory Pawn is that because we can activate it as a quick action, so to speak, we can, as you're about to see, block this, and then in response gain health. This is going to buff our Maze of Totemis and give it its +3 Swift Strike for the turn. And Swift Strike means it deals combat damage before other damage, so we're just going to kill that before it can hit us. Move on. We're starting to gain back a little bit of health here. There's one of the ethereal healers we wanted to see before. But because there's still a chance of us getting to play it for free, I'm not going to... I'd prefer to play out other things into our hand. We're going to try to do the same trick we just did against the AI last turn. They're not very wise to it. They'll probably play into it again. Oops. Now we're starting to claw our way back into this game. And as you can see, our Righteous Paladin just keeps getting bigger and bigger every time we're gaining health from our Ivory Pawn and our Daybreak. This was a 2-2 when I played it. It's now a 10-6 thanks to its ability to gain health, get bigger every time we gain health, and because of the Maze of Totemis is giving it +1 attack every time we gain health too. So we can actually play out the rest of our hand here. Shard into Paladin. Ethereal Healer. Second Daybreak, so now we're getting 2 health at the start of our turn, and each one of these counts as a trigger. So that means this Paladin's going to get +2/+2. Well, really +4/+2 thanks to the Maze of Totemis. Probably fine for us to swing here. We can swing this into here. He can block the damage, but we'll still gain health, which you might want to do. Actually, we can just... He'll block it, most likely. Then as a combat trick, we can buff our... we can gain a health. Maze of Totemis will give the Paladin +1 attack, so now it's actually big enough to kill it. Okay, he played a pile drive to buff him, so we're going to lose the Paladin, but he's going to lose the game. There's a lot of tricksy things you can do against an AI that's not quite smart enough to know that you can gain health as a combat trick like that. Hey Panda, if you're still around, can you like throw a random chat, or anybody who's here, can you just like type something random in chat so I can see if my chat box is working properly? Because I don't know if your comment popped up before. That's a decent hand. That's a decent curve. Glorious Pegasus, most likely. Actually, yeah, we're starting. So Glorious Pegasus is going to give us a flying Righteous Paladin. And then we can go Ethereal Healer if we don't have a better turn 3 play. Although we probably play this Ivory Pawn out. We'll see. AI mulliganed, it looked like. Frostheart Fractured. So same challenge that we saw early in our last run, except unfortunately this time the AI is going to get the benefit from it before we do. I don't think it matters too much. We're probably in a better... We're probably going to benefit more from it than the AI will, just as a rule. Spectral Acorn is a... Oh, jeez. This is an interesting card. It's got a lot of text on it, but the only main thing you have to worry about it for the purposes of our deck is that when you play it, we draw a card. So it's just a cantrip, just a way to kind of make our deck a little bit smaller. Now, normally you would want to play these as soon as you see them, right? Because you immediately draw a replacement card, you get more information for your turn, so you have better knowledge of what you might want to play. But because we do have these ethereal healers in our deck and we don't want to draw them, unless I'm looking for something very specific or we don't have a really, really good play on the turn, for the turn, I tend to save these. I tend to keep those in our hand. Now, the passive ability on the Malice Demon says all troops in all zones get Rage 1. That includes us, so our Paladin, our Pegasus, is going to get Rage 1, which means it gets, every time it attacks, it gets +1 attack permanently. So it's going to swing in there as a 2-1, and now with 2 flying threats with Rage, we can close out this game pretty quickly, but Malice Demon can always do something nasty. Alright, we drew a Contract Killing. Can't remember if this deck has the equipment. It doesn't. Contract Killing is a free, as long as I have a blood threshold, free destroy target troop, but it does deal 2 damage to us at the start of each of our turns. Not normally a big deal, though, in a life gain deck. So, yeah, this is because we have so much resources to spend thanks to this Frostheart Fractured, I'm going to go ahead and see if we can find a more decent things to play this turn. Righteous Paladin counts as one of those things. Could play out the Ethereal Healer to be more resource efficient, plus it's a nice blocker against this Elite Pyromancer that's almost certainly going to swing in. We don't care if this is in our crypt because there's always a chance for it to come back with each of our life gain triggers. Other option is play out the Ivory Pawn, use it, and then we will gaining life will trigger the Glorious Pegasus to create a Valor that we can then put on, well, anything. Probably the Glorious Pegasus itself, actually. Yeah, we can do that, and I can just show off what that looks like, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and use this on this guy as well. So we're going to gain 1 health. Our Paladins get bigger. Pegasus will generate a Valor. We'll Valor up the Pegasus because we just want to spread out the power. I don't believe the Malice Demon has any removal in his deck, but if he does, he'd rather hit one of these, so no point in giving him a sort of 2-for-1 in a sense. So the Pegasus, whenever a Valorous troop you control attacks, it gets life drain. So the Pegasus is actually going to gain us 4 life here, which will also buff our Paladins. And that life gain trigger actually put the Ethereal Healer into play for free, so this game's pretty much over. Gain health, buffs our Paladins for the turn, we gain a Valor. Another Ivory Pawn means we're just going to get really, really big Paladins for this turn. It's going to force the Elite Pyromancer to block the one on the ground, but at this point, we just win this game. Pretty sure that's enough damage. And there we go. For completing that challenge, we got the resource buff. At the start of the game, we receive 1/1. These buffs, I don't think I explained this to anyone who wasn't watching. These buffs only apply to the bosses at the end of each tier. So for this boss encounter, we're going to start the game with 1/1 resources, which is really, really nice. Pretty much the best buff that you can get. By far. So if this hand, if one of these Paladins was another resource or 2, this hand would be pretty good, but as is, this is not keepable. We're going to replace this. That's, it's not the greatest, but I think I'll keep it. Chimera Guard Officer on 1, into activation and possible contract killing on one of his troops on 2, into Paladin. We'll take some licks from this contract killing, but we have enough life gain stuff in our hand already that I think that's fine. And there we go. There's a fine target for our contract killing anyway. This thing becomes a 6/6 when there's enough artifacts in the opposing crypt, and as you can imagine, the AI is all about getting the that stuff in the crypt. I don't. If he offers the trade with the Dread Technomancer, I don't think I take it here. Although maybe I'm supposed to, since he's putting a lot of stuff on the board. And honestly, his board looks a lot less interesting without this. My turn 2 will be Righteous Paladin. The other thing is, no, I think I'm fine taking this trade. So our life total is getting low. Combination of the enemy attacks and our contract killing, but we should be okay here. Sapper's Wallbuster's a little annoying. This activates on 2, right? No, it takes 3, so he'll need a 3rd resource to activate this. This is basically removal. So we want to get our paladin into to become a 4/4 before that hits. Now he's missing resource drops, so that's good for us. We can get it to 1 with this, but that's not enough unless we see something else interesting off the top with the Spectral Acorn, which I mean, there's no reason. If we can get this as a 4/4 this turn, and if this Spectral Acorn can help us find, say, a Ethereal Healer or a Scrivener, we could do it, but since it didn't in this case, we'll just do this. Play out the Paladin, I think. Yeah. Next turn we play out the Ivory Pawn if... I almost made a huge mistake. I don't have the equipment in this that it makes it a quick action. I was going to see if maybe I offer the trade and then blow him out just to gain some health, but... Alright, so sadly he found the 3rd resource, but wouldn't have mattered if I played this Ivory Pawn. It would have only been a 3/3. But he is missing his Ruby Threshold, so I'm guessing that's why he's not playing out any more cards, because he can't. I will play this looking for something more meaningful to play on this turn. Glorious Pegasus counts. I'll just go ahead and gain the life now so I can be a little more resource efficient. And I will... Yeah, I'll Valor up the Pegasus. Sure. Gain 1, deal 1. Found another Righteous Paladin, so that's just great for us. I'm actually going to Valor this thing up. Righteous Paladin gets buffed twice. Found an Electroid off the top. That's not going to do anything for him, because it cannot attack or block unless he has 4 robots on the field. Now the Righteous Paladin means every time we gain health, he's going to lose 2. Goes down to 7. He's going to have to start chump blocking, so I will... He has to block here, and this should be lethal because these 2 will deal 5 damage and they'll both gain us 1 health each. So that should be the final 2 damage we need to finish him off. Bing, bing, done. Paladin of the Necropolis is another favorite card of mine. I remember when it was first spoiled for set 2, I was like, I want to build a deck that's where that card's the main focus. Pretty sure those decks were never that strong back then, but it was still a fun thing to do, and it's cool that we get to play around with it in the Frostring Arena. At least. Construct Form and Elite, all about that direct damage, but if we can get off to a decent enough start, we can gain enough health such that what he's doing is irrelevant. And this is a decent hand to do that with. Glorious Pegasus into Flying, Righteous Paladin into Ethereal Healer. Good start. Oh, and he's the elite version, that's right. So he starts with a Cerebral Fulmination in play, which makes each champion draw a card at the start of a turn. Now, unfortunately, he drew us 2 contract killings, so we're going to start taking a lot of damage from our own cards. But, so hopefully he starts playing out some targets for us to use those on. That counts. Hopefully it procs on one of these as well. Okay. So the thing he drew, or he played, it reveals a card in your hand, and it says at the start of your turn, it deals, at the end of your turn, it deals 2 damage to you. So kind of forcing us to play this Paladin this turn. That's fine, because we kind of want to do that anyway. No reason not to swing here. He doesn't have many speedy threats, and the ones he does have, the Paladin can block. There it is. Speak of the devil. Speak of the Psychotic Anarchist. Adamantium Scrivener is a great draw here. It's going to get us to make back a lot of the health we've been losing since the start of a game. Oh, we drew a Booby Trap, so we take 4 from him. Our Daybreak gained us a health, and it actually procced on this Ethereal Healer to put into play. So we have enough to draw that I don't think I want to use a Spectral Acorn to find. Like, we could find another Adamantium Scrivener, and then we'd be in an even greater spot, but if the flip side is if we draw an Ethereal Healer, we'll feel really bad, and there's a good chance we can just start putting in a ton of Ethereal Healers into play. So, because we're gaining so much health, I'm kind of inclined to keep, incentivized to keep this contract killing for a nastier threat of his. Pretty sure he doesn't have any sweepers. Old versions of this deck used to run Heat Wave. But honestly, if he's Heat Waving us, do I really care? I'll Valor this guy up just in case. Plus he'll gain us more health. Back up to 15. Find another Ethereal Healer. Now we're back up to 17, because when she enters play, it triggers the Adamantium Scrivener, so we gain 2 health. I'll just pass the turn. This contract killing can be used on a more valuable target. He shouldn't be able to do 17 to us this turn. Not with the board that we have. Plays a Wild Flame Phoenix. I believe this causes damage to us. It could potentially deal damage to us when we kill it, but I don't think it's going to be enough to matter. I guess we could always just in case, gain a little bit more health before we play the contract killing. Another troop. Now I kind of wish I did that first, but it doesn't really matter. He's dead anyway. We'll get rid of his only flyer, so he can't block our 11-11 with flight. Our 11-11 with flight. Swing it with everything anyway, though, because, you know, why not assert our dominance against these AI opponents. King Majesty, or His Majesty King Gabriel, our first boss. Cool. We have a, since we have the bonus of a resource on this should be a fine matchup for us. He does have a lot of spot removal for our big threats, like the Righteous Paladin. But if we can Valor them up from our Pegasus, he can't use the Bring to Justice that he might potentially have. Double well starting hand means we can't gain any thresholds with these, so I'm gonna throw this back. Don't really have a choice. Missing our Blood Shard, but otherwise is a fine hand. 2 Ivory Pawns a little awkward because, as I mentioned, he does have enough spot removal that he can get rid of this Righteous Paladin, and that would otherwise cause him problems. But I think we can keep this instead of throwing it back. I'm going to... We can't... We could play out an Ivory Pawn on our first turn because we start off with an extra resource. I think I'll go ahead and do that. There's always a chance we can get an Ethereal Healer off of it. Early Ethereal Healers increase our chances of winning games by leaps and bounds. A free 2/3 with Life Drain that we didn't even have to have in hand is good. Who knew? Now, how desperately do I need to be searching for a Blood Shard? I think until we draw a second Paladin, we don't need to be searching for our Blood Shards so aggressively. I could activate the Ivory Prawn now to buff the Righteous Paladin, but just in case, I'll do it at the end of my turn in case he gets a... I'm pretty sure the deck doesn't have any such threat, but if he had a speedy threat that he'd feel like running into this, then I could always do this as a combat trick to make it a 4/4 and get it out of range. As it stands, that's not going to happen. He's missing a Shard Drops, which is great. Okay, now we got a second Blood card in our hand, so I will look for a stack of resource on top of our deck, hoping that it's a Blood source here. Swing in here. Doesn't block, so I'll do this to gain 2 and deal an extra 2 to him. The other neat thing about the Ivory Pawns is that if you're desperate, you can save them for after an enemy swings, and like there's always a chance you might proc these Ethereal Healers that could then be used as blockers during your enemy's attack step. There's our Blood source. So now we can go ahead and play the Paladin. I'm going to save this contract killing for after the king activates his charge power. It lets him summon a troop called Boldheart that when it's in play, he can't lose the game, essentially. I think it says he can't take damage, so he might still be able to lose the game because of a Paladin in the Necropolis, since it says each champion loses health. Things that prevent damage can't prevent you from losing health. So I think we can still win if he has a Bold Heart in play, but just in case, and because this Hero of Legend is not really a threat, I'm going to just hold this for now. He's going to say no blocks. I'm going to say, well, take 12. 2 from this Paladin, 10 from this. We might not even get to see Bold Heart this game because he's not anywhere near 6 charges yet. That said, we aren't able to attack into his board right now. Now, the AI is also being a little silly. He should have swung with this. We had nothing to trade with it. He would have gained 4 health and bought himself some more time. No relevant plays this turn means I'm going to go ahead and do this. Stack a non-resource on top of our deck. We don't need more shards, that's for sure. Go ahead and swing with this Paladin. He'll block with that and gain 2, unfortunately, but will gain some health as well, which means he'll lose some. It's possible... Okay. Bash tournament and starting in 1 hour. Constructed standard. So there's one of the cards we were worried about and we wanted to see the Pegasus for. It says void target non-Valorous troop. Well, he's not Valorous, so we're gonna lose him. So unfortunately, I think this will encourage Man, this Princess Victoria is a real beating right now. So no matter what we do, he's going to gain 4 health. So I may as well just let him. There's another ethereal healer. What is our draw for the turn? Another ethereal healer. So he's almost certainly going to get Bold Heart next turn. We could Contra Killing this, swing with everything. He might... he'll block here. Almost certainly. Which means he'll still take 1 damage. Then he'll take another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we could deal exactly 9, assuming the AI blocks the way I think he's going to block. Do we want to see if I'm psychic? Let me just make sure I do the math again. We gain 1 health from this, and 1 health from this, 1 health from this, 1 health from this, 1 health from this. That's 5 damage. 4 gets through to finish him off. But if we fuck up, we lose because we have no way to take the Bold Heart off the table. Although, unless my original theory about life loss holds true. But the thing is, he's then starting to gain so much health it might not matter. Let's go for it. See if I'm a wizard. You make a poor king, Gabriel. Give me the throne. Alright, first perfect tier. Dread Technomancer up next. Spammy artifact deck. Usually not a problem if we can get life drain troops out early. Stop rubbing your hands when the mic is on, John. Okay. Glorious Pegasus into Righteous Outlaw. Righteous Outlaw? Righteous Paladin. Mesa Totemist. Kind of slow though because the... well, we could go Diamond Shard into Diamond Threshold off the well. This can be our blood for later. Our opponent's going first though. This is probably better than some of our than a lot of our 6-card hands, so I'm gonna keep it. And Adamantine Scrivener is a great... I'm actually gonna stack a resource on top here because I'd like to get this Maze of Totemist on the field ASAP. I'm actually gonna go... We could go Scrivener, Glorious Pegasus. One of these will become flying. Or we could just go Righteous Paladin. And then next turn go Slow Shard those two. Contra killing something he has. And then guarantee that the Adamantine Scrivener is proccing on Maze of Totemist so long as we don't draw another Hardened Troop. I kind of like just getting as many life drain procs as possible. Buffer our life total. See if we can get those ethereal healers in play. Then we don't have to worry as much about speedy threats like that because we're just gaining so much health. Now, Contract Killing used to Void, but they recently nerfed it so it says Destroy. Otherwise, I'd snap Void this. But because it will destroy it, his death trigger will... his Death Cry will trigger and he'll draw 2, lose 2. So I don't want to do that quite yet. Paladin or Maze of Totemist? Maybe we should see who's flying first. He got Flight, which means he'll be able to block that very soon. So, and in fact, he can block it this turn if I decide to go... There's no reason to play the Slow Shard, really, so... Righteous Paladin, life gain trigger, get another Valor. I'll Valor you up, Righteous Pegasus. I guess I should have Valored him if I really wanted to block. but we're gaining so much health it probably doesn't matter. Now there's a 4/4. There we go. There's an ethereal healer finally coming out to play. Yeah, we'll just play the Maze of Totemist. Buffing up all our troops. Could destroy the web speaker's Cenobite so that this Adamanthian Scrivener can attack in. But I think that's okay. We'll just swing with our 2 airborne troops this turn and leave it at that. He's probably leaving the Crusader back on defense. He might actually swing with that to gain health. Fine with that. Double contract killing. So that's more than enough to kill him then. He's gonna draw 2 cards and take 2 damage from that. Let me just do this and why not? Let's make our whole team, or most of our team, valorous. Another good start so far. We know how quickly that things can turn. Okay, no really good turn 2 play. We have a have an ivory pawn. But he does have a lot of flying threats, and having an ivory pawn into a flying Maze of Totemist is pretty good, so I think I'm gonna keep this. Oh, except Hogarth decided to throw a challenge our way as well. That's always nice. Fortunately, most of the things this can turn into aren't really scary, since our deck is all about putting out what are to start relatively weak troops into strong ones. Do I want to find an Adamanthian Scrivener from this instead? Probably. Slim chance, but it's always worth trying. Adamanthian Scrivener on 1 is pretty much our best play for a deck like this. So he's going to find an Ethereal Healer, which means he's going to just gain 2 health buffers, life total a little bit. The damage to us is inconsequential most of the time. So we're not finding our 3rd shard drop, unfortunately. But I'm going to play this out anyway in case we do find it. We can't swing into his 3/2 defender, so we're just going to hold back. We kind of need to see a few things here. We would like to see a contract killing to get rid of this Forbidden Tome Seeker before it gets too big. And we'd also like to see, obviously, our 3rd shard. There it is. We're going to leave that back and do our, interesting little combat trick. Hopefully he doesn't have a combat trick of his own. He might not actually swing in here at all, though. No, he doesn't. That's too bad. Scrivener is a nice pickup. Throw that on the field. Follow up with a Paladin. I think I might still hold back this Maze of Totemist, though. Although it's we might have lethal next turn if we get rid of that blocker. That's just how insane that these health triggers can stack up. He gets +3 attack and swift strike for every every health we gain. It just gets insane. I mean, we have so much health, I'm just going to let this go through. There's no reason. I guess I could have Ivory Pawned to see if we hit an Ethereal Healer, and then I could have double blocked this. We didn't get it. Didn't get it anyway, so. So much Valor. No real need to play out the Spectral Acorn, I don't think. Play another Glorious Pegasus because we weren't earning enough Valors per turn. So, I mean, I probably should have played the Glorious Pegasus first so that its trigger would proc onto the Paladin, making it have flight. But the order I did it at the very least made this Paladin larger, so wasn't all bad, but still would have been better to put the Glorious Pegasus into play first. This he can't trade with. This he can trade with, but I really don't care if he wants to do that. So we can swing with all of these. Maybe I should have calculated. I think I might have actually killed him. Nope, I wouldn't have quite killed him. This just this one cost 9/1. No big deal. So the idea behind the AI deck is that he's like kind of a stall the game out. He puts a ton of these things called Tomes of Lore into his deck, and they let him draw cards, and when you pop them, they like create random like powerful troops for him. But we're not going to give him the chance to do that. I want to do this just to see if we can draw a resource and play out more Valors. Okay, once again, must be more specific. A non-slow resource. This should be more than enough damage. It's getting through, I think, because he has to block. Has to block this with that. Has to block these two. Okay, no 2-drop here, but we do have we have 3 shards and a threshold and a Glorious Pegasus. Contract killing to deal with some of her nastier threats, and it's not the elite version, so she's a little slower. I think we can keep this. Now we do have a turn 2 play, so I'm going to play this instead of getting out the Pegasus. Yeah, I'm going to stack non-resources. I mean, our curve ends at 3 in this deck. Don't mind seeing a little bit more resources, though, just to be able to play out multiple things on the turn, especially when this Glorious Pegasus is generating us so many Valors. Taking a bit of damage from our contract killing, but we're just going to hopefully soon start making back some of this health. These Spine Scuttlers don't get crazy until now. At the beginning of each of his turn, if he has 3 or more thresholds, which he now does, they're going to get buffed. But we can just get rid of them now. I'm going to say... This is the flying one. No, I didn't put these in play yet. So... And these can start gaining us health, so I think I want to put those out on the field. Wouldn't mind seeing a shard off the top, because then we could play Mesa Totemist into Valoring up one of our Pegasi, so they get life drain on attack. Ask and ye shall receive. Sometimes. Give you life drain on attack. Not quite big enough to attack into the Sepulchral Bone Walker, so we won't. Now we're going to gain a lot of health. Buff our troops. Not a lot of health, but 2 health triggers. Apparently that's enough to put in 3 ethereal healers into play from our deck, so... This should be a wrap. It's just a question of getting there. Game is basically over. I don't think there's any way for the Midnight Gatherer to come back from this. Valor you up. I like to Valor up ethereal healers a lot of the time, because in case there is, some sweeper that the opponent plays, clears our board, there's always a chance for them to come back into play with health gain triggers, and then they'll just be bigger. Because 2-3 is impressive to get early on in the game, through these triggers like we have, but in the late game they're not very impressive. If these were clerics, or if there's ever a way to give other troops the subtypes cheaply in white or blood, this deck could become pretty insane with on the back of this Mesa Totemist buffing clerics as much as they do, because it would be great to have recurring threats like this that just keep getting more and more attack power. Anyway, dreams aside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can kill this Righteous Paladin. I don't want him to yet, so just swing with these two. If he wants to trade with his ethereal healer, that's fine by me. Like I said, it has a chance to come back, and it's going to come back with that Valor on it. Alright, Midnight Gatherer finally got all 5 thresholds it needs to really start going ham, but I think it's too little too late. We're just representing a little bit too much power here. Unless he has a 1-cost thing to take care of this Mesa Totemist. Should be the game. Just in case, I suppose we'll buff these. Lumigoth Elite, so this is like the Illuminate deck of the run. Its whole thing is that it centers around a mechanic called Illuminate. Every time you illuminate, you get to either put candles into play equal to the number of Illuminate, or buff your candles by that number. So tokens deck, trying to go spam the board with little tokens and then make them really, really big. Actually not sure how this matchup is. I haven't played this Goot deck in a while, and I'm actually not sure if I've ever faced this yet. Adamantine Scrivener on 1, always nice. Ethereal Healer in hand, not ideal, but it's a fine play. But we have 2 blood cards in hand and no blood thresholds in sight. And I'd rather not stack resources on top of our deck when we already have 3 in hand, so I'm going to take somewhat reluctant mulligan here. That's a much better hand. Could put Glorious Pegasus out on 1 to ensure we get a Flying Righteous Paladin, though I'm not quite sure I want to play this on 2 yet, because it does mean having to use this Well of Retribution as our second diamond source, and we really might need it for the blood. So we'll just go with the more conservative play of Adamantine Scrivener on 1. Going to use the Initiate of Wax 1-shot, Illuminate 1, creates a Candlekin. And there's our second diamond source, so how much do we care about this having flight? Because he can gum up the board with so many 1/1 blockers. I think we really do want this to have flight. And we can still be resource efficient this turn because we can always use this Valor. I think I'll actually put it on the Scrivener just so it can attack in this turn. Just deal a little bit extra damage. Might be wrong though. Probably should have put that on the Pegasus so that it's a life drainer on attack. But we are gonna get another Valor next turn anyway. Probably no other use for that resource. Don't want to play the Ethereal Healer out quite yet. And that's the reason why, because it might get put into play for free. Valor up Pegasus. Charge power. No need to use our Spectral Acorn. We're not looking for anything specific on a turn where we don't have any more resources. So might use it next turn. He illuminates, buffing his candle. Well, I don't think your board is suddenly more scary with a 2/2 candle with Crush. Opponent, but you do you. Play the Righteous Paladin. We'll use this since we have a lot of 1 and 2 drops, so we might draw. Maze of Totemis is decent pickup. Can't play it this turn, but can play it next turn. Put another Valor on the Pegasus. We'll leave everything else back to block, and I don't want to lose this Scrivener. Dead next turn unless he has removal or a blocker for our flying troops. Got one resource up. Probably not gonna do anything. Got him. That was the elite version too. I didn't notice that. That's good. Got through another elite encounter without issue. Oh boy. We come to my favorite part of the arena. Hogarth, master of the arena. The master himself. He is a particularly annoying champion because he makes all your cards in hand cost 1 more, which usually is enough to delay you, such that it just creates so many non-games for these more, quote, fair decks that I like to play in the Frostring arena. So we might have just hit a brick wall here and can't win the game and can't get through a run. I keep checking this because I keep wishing it turns into the gain 1 resource at the start of your turn bonus, because that's the best way to counter what the Hogarth's passive. We'll try. We'll give it the full try. Normally I would just, like, after the first loss, just quit, because I don't find this encounter particularly fun. Normally this hand wouldn't be too bad, but because everything's +1, I can't really keep it. He can't see it now, but he'll get a 1/1 with Rage 1 when the game starts. So we really need blockers for that, or the potential for blockers with Ethereal Healers. So I'm going to replace this hand looking for early Scriveners. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to keep that because it's shard drops that we need to make. Oh, this is not the elite version. My mistake. The elite version gives you +2 cost and starts with the 1/1 with Rage in play. So we have some time here, but if we can't get a decent board going before he plays like a Frostmare, the game's over. He's a Totemist. Still don't have a turn 2 play, so we're just going to do this. Do I want to actually start stacking? No, I don't think so. Stack non-resources. We have 2 Spectral Acorns in hand, so I mean we can find more shards if we really need them. Well, that's interesting. I think I would rather play the Paladin, though. What could happen? He could... whatever. He could weave into nothing. That's what he could do. Should have thought about that. Would have much rather he wove the Glorious Pegasus into nothing. Okay, well, with that in mind... Oh, okay, free thing. Ugh. So I really want to go Scrivener into Glorious Pegasus, but he had no plays last turn, so that almost certainly means he's got another Weave into Nothing. So I think I'm going to go with Pegasus first to clear the way. Alright. Well, we might be able to get this one. He's missing shard drops. No, he's not. He's just trolling us. So in addition to the janky passive that Hogarth has, he has the ability to put one of 3 unique to him constants from his deck into play, and they do all kinds of nasty things. Really hoping not to see the one that lets him take control of a troop of ours. Especially because we're about to play this Maze of Totemist. There's nothing we can play that costs 1 because of Hogarth's passive, so no reason to play these Spectral Acorns this turn. We'll swing with the Ethereal Healer here to gain some health, see if we can put another one into play. We have 34 health. No reason to block that. What did he play? He copied his bird and then it created a random action with cost 3 or less into his hand. Okay, cool. We might be doing it. We might be doing it, chat. He'll almost certainly block with the Scrivener if I throw it in there, so I'm not going to do that. And I don't think I want to trade this Pegasus quite yet. If he does try to eat these, it does mean he's taking 19 damage. I don't think that's quite worth it yet. So that's the constant that gives him an extra turn. That's probably the best one for us. Oh, it also decreases our troops' attack power. Maybe that's not the best for us. What did he do? He mesmerized our Maze of Totemist so it can't attack anymore. That's a problem. We're going to save this contract killing for something like Empress of Ice. There's a troop that he can play that makes it so that our cards don't untap at the start of each of our turns. I'm going to start playing these Valors, I think. Because although the Maze of Totemist is tapped down, we're still going to get buffs to our Scrivener every time we gain health. There's a good chance he stops swinging. Nope. Alright, well, we have our attack power back, but he drew... Okay, Frostmare. That's not that bad. These Spectral Acorns aren't affected by this thing's ability to increase the cost of cards in our... Typing in Jatora's chat. Hey, thanks, Tuck, for following. And yes, the chat is working. That's awesome. You should be able to see it on the screen. Okay, so... If we really wanted to, we could use this contract killing on the Frostmare to allow us to play these Valors out, but that's pointless. We're generating so much additional ones anyway. So many additional ones anyway. Got another constant. What do we want to do here? Can we win this turn? 11, 12, 14, 15, 16... And if we draw... Nah. We can wait one more turn. I'm gonna Valor up these Ethereal Healers, actually. Soon they'll be able to attack into this Frostmare. We might have this one, despite how annoying this matchup is. We might have one. That's gonna slow us down a bit. And that's really gonna slow us down. But this is what we saved the contract killing for. He didn't duplicate the Empress of Ice, which is really good for us. That was weird. Looked like we were gonna draw a Paladin for a second, and then all of a sudden it turned into. All right. So the Empress of Ice prevents our troops from untapping. So we got to get rid of that, or we can't win the game. We've built up such a huge life total at this point that we're not in danger of dying to his big troops. He does have a lot of flyers as blockers, though, which is the problem. We have a lot of Valors to eventually beat through them, but it's gonna take some time, especially because, again, everything in our hand costs more. Because of that, I'm kind of inclined to put another Shard on the top of our deck so we can play 4 Valors per turn. Space of Totemness isn't doing much right now, so I think I'll just keep it in hand. We can actually empower it next turn with an 8 resource as well. Empowering means I can voluntarily empower any card that has that keyword, and when you do that, it doubles all the numbers on the card. So it'll make it an 8 cost, but it'll be a 2/8 that gets +6 and Swift Strike every time you gain health. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't apply to that text, but whatever. It's a bug. I'm convinced it's a bug. The other thing we could do is start valoring up the Ethereal Healers, since they're already more, you know, they're closer to being able to attack into this board despite the 8/8 on the ground. Decisions. Another one. Oh, that's annoying. As long as we don't see another Empress of Ice. I keep saying bride because there's a blood equivalent to that card that's called Bride of the Damned. Yeah, I think we're just... don't really have a choice but valoring up these troops. We can't go wide on him. We just got to get to the point where we can get these Pegasi to be able to swing into his board. The other thing is we could also look for... we're also kind of looking for a Paladin of the Necropolis off the top, so we can deal these last 4 points of damage. Because even if we swing with all of these and he blocks them, just the fact that they all have life drain means we're going to gain health, get the necessary triggers we need to finish him off. So maybe, yeah, with that in mind, I suppose I will start using these to look for them. Not finding them, though. Sure, you can weave that into nothing. I don't mind. The other thing that we wouldn't mind seeing is another Glorious Pegasus, because if we put that into play, it'll give flight to our Mesa Totemist, and this thing with flight and Swift Strike means it can start attacking into his flyers very, very soon, which is great. I'm gonna start valoring up these things so I can start blocking these Colossi. We couldn't quite get under what Hogarth was doing. But we still have the ability to end the game on the spot with that. So this should just kill him. I'll swing with everything, just in case he has something to prevent me from dealing damage. Oh boy, another long, grindy one. We got there. All right, we've read this, we've seen this before. 2 perfect tiers, and now are we gonna be able to make it to the end this time, or are we gonna get blown out again? That's fine. That's fine to keep. Get a flying Maze of Totemus for sure. Glorious Pegasus starting early. That's unfortunate. So this Highlands Magus is giving the Cerulean Mentalist life drain, which does mean I'm gonna do this looking for a shard. Well, that has spell shoes, we can't hit it, but I think I'm gonna try to get this off the table. Hopefully it doesn't come back. It doesn't. I think we're fine playing Totemists every turn. Totemists make other Totemists so much larger, so it's gonna get to the point where they can attack into any board state. It's a Totemist party over here. Okay, opponent draws 2, discards 2, finds his 5th shard. Yeah. You go ahead and swing in, I don't care. You're dead. So, unless he has something to bounce 2 of my troops, he's dead. It's a great starting hand. Although we are facing Lyrical Chanter Elite, and I really hate this encounter. It usually just gets too much value out of its passives and its charge power, so that we can't really get under what it's doing with these more mid-range decks, but we'll give it a shot. Really hoping this Pegasus, maybe because of the fact that I really need this Pegasus to proc onto the Righteous Paladin, I shouldn't play out this Glorious Pegasus because it's only a 50-50. So we'll go with this first. So her passive is every time a constant enters play, gain 1 health for each constant you control. And she summons a random chant, which is a type of constant, and she's playing a ton of constant. Now, the Sanctum of Suffering, she also gets a random constant at the start of her turn, or start of the game. This one makes her discard a random card and then draw a card every turn, so maybe this can make her miss her shard drops and other things so that we're fine. This is a little unfortunate though. This guy gets heals her every turn if she has three or more constants in play. But I'm gonna get rid of it with this contract killing that we just drew, since I don't want to play out the Paladin this turn anyway. Actually, I'll do one of these. Okay. Could gain health there, but I'm just gonna swing. Has another Physician, but is missing shard drops, so that's very good for us. And we drew a Scrivener. Okay. Maybe we can get through the crap that she's doing before her board state gets out of hand. So Scrivener, that helps for sure. This swing for 1 in the air, pass the turn. Shit, found a shard. Gonna go ahead and see if we can find something interesting off the top here. Of course we don't. But now we can just start stacking our deck every turn. I could have done that at the end of the opponent's turn to generate another Valor from the Pegasus, but it's, you know, I don't think it really matters because it's 1 damage now or 1 damage later. That's really bad. So that's going to let him exile our big boy, and we don't have a way to take this off the table to get it back. So our big Righteous Paladin has been exiled, unfortunately. Still not out of it. That's a really good draw. Actually gonna Valor up. What? I don't think it matters. Probably just keep Valoring up the flyer. Do a full swing here. Down to 10. Can we get there before she starts going off? Now she keeps drawing shards. That's a silly swing. The AI doesn't know that. It's fine, we'll forgive it. Back up to 16. Because he gained 4 health from this trigger. He's also gaining 3 health every turn because of this thing. Can I win this turn? No, I don't think I'm doing nearly enough damage. Does making this Mesa Totemist empowered really do much on this board state? No, because none of our clerics are flying. Yeah, I think we've missed our opportunity to beat this champion. It just, once it gets snowballing like this with the constants, basically gaining infinite health every turn, I don't think we can quite get there. Let's see. Totemist triggers Scrivener. 1 damage. Could Valor up the Necropolis Paladin, get another trigger. Chimera Guard Officer is another trigger. her down to 7, but unless she starts just playing out a ton of troops, that's a good start. Play out a 3-drop troop. That's not a 3-drop troop. And she's stunned. Our Maze Totemus didn't ready here because of this chant. When a constant enters play under your control, stun a random opposing troop. So it's gonna ready on the start of our next turn. If we swing with the Paladin, he can trade these two for it. It's not a big deal, and he keeps these, which is really bad. But it might be just getting to the point where we have to force him to trade with our clerics here. Just so he stops gaining a card and 3 health from these every turn. 9, 8, 8. And this 4 means if he doesn't block one of them, he loses, but he probably will because he's fine. I'm pretty sure the AI is just fine trading like Vesper 1-drop for a 1-drop. And he'll probably double block. If he does that, he'll probably double block this. But if he does that, then 8 damage is getting through, and we heal 3 times, so it deals 11 to him. And if he wants to just play all troops, might be okay with that. We know he has. I saw. I think that 5-drop in play. He might play that, which would be great for us. Well, let's see. Let's see what happens. It's like a now or never kind of thing. Ethereal Healer is good. Well, we got him down to 1, so I miscalculated. Oh, that's so annoying. Not only does it get rid of a troop, but it also gains him a bunch of health because anything that comes into play. But fortunately, this Mesmeric chant didn't hit one of our bigger guys, so we just barely got there. Whew. Yes, Victor. I only speak English. Apparently, I sold a bunch of Rowdy Piper alternate arts. That's nice. Poet of Galaki. This is a mill champ. The elite version we're a little bit too slow to beat most of the time, but I think we can get this guy. It really depends. Paladins are nice, but like a handful of 3-drops, we need a little bit of a faster hand than that. This is great. I'm gonna go with the could go with Pegasus on 1 just to ensure that this Righteous Paladin is a flyer, but I think one of the bigger ways we're gonna win this matchup is that getting early healing procs so that we can get our ethereal healers out as early as possible. Our health gain doesn't matter because we're not losing this game by having our life total reduced. We're losing it by getting milled out, but we still want the triggers so that we can get these things into play early. And because it's just a better attacker, I think I'm gonna play the ethereal healer next turn, but the great thing about milling is if he mills our ethereal healers, we don't care. I am really tongue-tied today for some reason. So yes, Victor, I speak only English, but not very well apparently. Struggle with even that language, it seems. Pegasus means we get a Valor. We can use it on our Adamantine Scrivener and we can attack in. So maybe go back on what I originally said about playing this healer out early. Or on turn 3. Not early, but... kind of like gets an extra 2 points of damage because you know the AI is not going to block. Not yet. AI won't block until the last possible moment. To its demise a lot of the times. Sure. You swing that 1 point of damage at me. What did he mill? No ethereal healers yet. It's too bad. So you got quite of a big board here. Librarian's a little scary. He might block with it though. Do I play the... I don't think I play the pawn here. I think it's... well, I can play the pawn post-combat if the healer doesn't get into play from the life gain triggers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he can't kill this, so I can swing this in. He probably chumps it with this, even though that's probably the last one he wants to use. This gives all of his troops unblockable. But the AI will see, oh, it's a 1-1, it's my worst troop, I'll use it. So it's probably going to chump this here. If I make you a 3, he's just going to block here, but next turn I can start swinging in. But at the same time, if he wants to trade several things for this, I think I'm okay with that. Plus it's another life gain trigger. Nope, he's not gonna do that. He's just gonna absorb the damage. This didn't get put into play, so I'll play it. Ivory Pawn next turn can buff mid-combat. Looks like the poet stole Righteous Paladin from us with his... what was his passive? Yeah. At the start of each of his turns, he's getting a random card from our crypt and getting rid of the thresholds off of it, so so he can actually play it. So he's a mill deck. Putting something on the top of our deck with his ice is pointless. But we might want to do it just to ensure. We might want to put a resource on top of our deck, so in hopes that he mills it, so there's a less of a chance of us drawing resources that we just don't need at this stage. 2, 4, 6, 10, 11, 12. He can just kill this Righteous Paladin, but he'd have to trade his board for it, basically, which fine by me. I think we'll do what I originally said and give this a Valor so it can attack in. And because of that, I'll probably start activating this at the end of his turn so I can generate essentially 2 Valors per turn. We'll just do this. Swing, swing, swing. See how he blocks. Yep, he's not trading his board for that thing. He's double blocking here, though, which is interesting. So I wanted to just take out the Librarian. No, I'll take out the Whisper, because if he gets another one, it's a lot of power on the table and prevents my Paladin from attacking in, so... Oh, he stole the Ethereal Healer that just died and went into our crypt. Of all the things he could have stolen. Wow, that really sucks. That really, really, really sucks. You asshole. You asshole. Alright. Well... this is going to take a little longer than I thought, or I was hoping. Fortunately, he doesn't have much going on. Like, we still have half our deck. I mean, we're getting there. It's getting to the point where he could just start running off a bunch of mill effects and we're screwed. He got a shard from our crypt. Fine by me. Mills a bunch more blockers. Well, this Pegasus is gonna have to go the distance. He's only at 7, so as long as he doesn't find removal for it. I guess there's no real point in swinging the Paladin anymore. May as well leave it back just in case, because we want to block this Boglin. When this hits us, it creates a bunch of Dementia Daisies, and if he gains a charge, he mills a lot of our deck, so we just don't want to give him the opportunity to even have a chance to do that. So we'll just leave this Paladin back as a blocker. We're never getting through. Of course he gets a flyer from our crypt. Of course he does. We need him to brick, and we need him to brick hard on his next turn, so we can punch through with this final bit of damage. Why not? Ugh. But you know what? The AI is probably going to target my huge troop with that, so that's fine. And that means he uses up all of his resources to do that. So he has no place, he has no blockers for this Pegasus. Except he gained a ton of health. When did that happen? Am I missing something here? When and why did that happen? Why did he gain so much health? I am confused. He's suddenly at 38, 39 health. Why? Okay. It's like he gained all the health. It's like he gained health equal to the Paladin's attack power or something like that. Equal to his defense. But why is that the case? I must be missing something. Or that is the weirdest bug I've ever seen. I'll have to watch the replay on that. I have no idea why that happened. Okay. I don't know if we can kill him in time now. Like, he just needs one more Chronic Madness, and it's over. I guess the good thing is, we're putting so many Valors in his, Yeah, sure. I don't really want him gaining health from that every turn, so I guess I have to do that. And now hopefully I can get the Ethereal Healer out of the crypt, so he doesn't steal another one from us. Maybe we should start Valoring up this one too, just in case he gets another flyer from our deck. And I think I have to leave back this Maze of Totemis because I think he's going to start being fine trying to throw this Boglum into our board. This is not really getting through anyway, so... I don't even think he's quite dead next turn. Have a 3/3 unblockable. The good thing is we're generating so many Valors that the only thing he's stealing from us are Valors. So 4, 6, 19. Not quite enough to finish him off this turn. I don't know what's on top of my decks, or what's even in my deck anymore. Boy, oh boy, we really needed a Paladin of the Necropolis. Could have finished him off. Not that it really matters, but I'm just curious. Yep, he milled them all. Okay, well, just need him to brick one more time, unless he magically gains 30 health, like he did last time. Okay, he drew a shard off the top of his deck. Actually, I guess he could have gotten that from us. Oh god, what does this do? We're the top 3. Sweet. That should be game. Where were you before? I needed you that turn that he stole one of our Pegasi. Oh boy. Slowly but surely. Can we get that perfect run? Field Medic Elite. Well, anything you can do, I can do better. We gain health way better than him. This is a great final elite to see going into the final boss, because we should have no problem winning this one. Question is what the final boss is going to be. We've gotten through Hogarth, right? So we don't have to deal with that asshole. Hopefully we see like Princess Corey. That's like the best thing we could see, I think. We could still get janked out of that game, but I think it's still our best chance of winning it. Not quite. I'm not... Those Spectral Acorns give us a bunch of redraws, but no guarantee we draw what we need to make that hand good, so take the free mulligan. Please. My Adamantine Scrivers gave me 2 health per troop that enters play, not just 1. Loser. Plus this is the challenge matchup too, so that's actually good for us. Looks bad because we're starting off with like he's got 2 early troops, but we want to get a good challenge in for the next match. I might actually stack a resource on top just to ensure we get the Maze of Totemist down on time. Because pretty sure the Field Medic doesn't have any removal, so he can't deal with a flying Maze of Totemist. So he's going to start gaining a ton of health every turn. He just gave his troops the ability to gain health every time they attack, plus he just played something called Eternal Youth, which is an escalation card. Escalations cards are interesting. They go back in your deck and get more powerful. So he gets if he redraws it, he's just going to keep gaining more and more in health. More and more health. But even with that, we should be able to get him dead pretty quickly. That thing can be a problem. It isn't right now, but we have a contract killing for it anyway, so not worried. Lay that out. Lay this. Go ahead and swing here. Just gonna quickly watch all that health that he's building up fade away. Target troop from your crypt on top of your deck. Blah blah blah. Okay, so he's just a 4/5/5. Ah, that's unfortunate. His devoted crusader got life drained, so better do this before he gets spell shield, I guess. See if we can find a better play than this ethereal healer. Yeah, we'll play it out. Okay. I was gonna Valor up one of these so it could double block the Big Daddy when he decides to swing. But since we have 3 of them now, I'll just go ahead and keep Valoring up this Glorious Pegasus so we can close out the game faster. I guess I should be doing this too, but I don't think that would have mattered. So I think we got him dead next turn. Yep, this Mesa Totemist alone is enough to do it. Okay, are we gonna get that perfect run? Izume. And we start with 1 resource, one of the best, well, the best buff we could have gotten by far. Izume, Izume, Izume. How bad is she against our deck? Does she have sweepers? I can't remember. I think this is a pretty good matchup for us. She does have that one troop that can take away one of ours and give her something of equal strength. So that we gotta watch out for. And like not make our Righteous Paladins too big. Like we can't lean on these as hard, but we're gonna go Scrivener into Pegasus. No, Scrivener into Chimera Guard Officer into Pegasus. Because we'd rather the flight not proc onto the Chimera Guard. Alright, didn't see any ethereal healers, but usually the problem with Izume is that she just deals a lot of damage really quickly, but because we are able to gain so much health, that's not as big of a concern. Perfect. I guess it would have been more perfect if it had come with the Righteous Paladin, but the second Righteous Paladin, but I'll take it. Thought she had a combat trick for me for a sec there. She does have a buff that gives her troop Skyguard, so that could have happened. There's the troop we were worried about. So luckily it happened early. Only got a do I care if this hits us and she gets 4 Battle Hoppers? I don't think so. I think we're getting enough health. I can let that go. Now the nice thing about the Mesa Totemist in this case is that because its main strength is temporary, it only lasts till the end of the turn, if he gets another one of these, if she gets another one of these, pretty sure she'll target the other Righteous Paladin instead of this. And this is the main threat. Because the AI will always pick the bigger troop you have in play, even if it's not a threat. Like, we're never getting through this field of battle hoppers with this paladin. But anyway, just in case. The other thing is I might want to... Where's Azume? Or where's Monikashin? Do we want to... Let's... I should have thought about that more. I just kind of wanted another blocker for that. Just because maybe the battle hoppers can get a little silly. And he might have a combat trick. Because she does have Swift Strike. Okay, or she'll play a second one and kill the first. Fine by me. Yeah, I don't care about that. Pretty sure she doesn't have any means of gaining life. So even if she does find answers for what we're doing, if we can get her low enough, this Wretched Brood will kill her, because it makes her lose a health every turn. Play you. We have a Chimera Guard officer that we can start using too, to get more Valors every turn. So even if she finds an answer to this Maze of Totemist, should have her dead next turn. No Scrounge means she can't use that to destroy one of our troops. Activate this at the end of her turn, giving us a Valor and healing us for 1. Tapped out, no Skyguard troops. We got that perfect run. That was really satisfying. Glad to have shown a deck that I made up on stream actually getting a perfect run in this. Now the other question is, did we get anything interesting? No. But that's fine. We got the victory. Alright, I'm going to take a small break, and then when we get back, we are going to look at another deck. Stick around.